Hello and welcome to Relatively Crafty, a knitting podcast. I'm your host, Christy. I come to you from the Denver area of Colorado, where I live with my husband, Ron, our two daughters, Tatum and Delaney, our tuxedo kitty, Lilu, and our Podango puppy, Sophie. Welcome! Happy New Year! Today is January 1st, 2021, so 2020 is finally behind us. It has been a bit of a trying year, but I like to say that there's been some significant blessings in there as well. Um, I hope there has been for you guys. There definitely has been for us. The kids have been home more. I've been home more, working from home for the past 9 months, and it has helped a lot because I've been able to spend more time with my kids. Because we're not going out and doing all kinds of crazy things, we spend more time as a family, and I think it's brought us closer. So, and I'm very grateful that we've both Ron and I have been able to stay employed the entire time, and none of us have gotten sick. So we have been very blessed in that. I do keep everybody in my prayers for those who haven't been quite so lucky. So, but hopefully it will be over soon. Anyway, enough of that. Let's talk about knitting, because that's what you're here for, right? This is a knitting podcast. I am a knitter. Let's talk about knitting. I only have one FO to show you guys today, but I wanted to post today because, well, for one, my house is quiet, which isn't always the case, and so I'm taking advantage of that. And I wanted to kind of go over some of the things that I've kind of resolved to finish up at the beginning of this year. I don't normally do, like, I'm not one of those people that's like, okay, well, it's a new year, it's a new beginning, let me make all these resolutions and make all these changes. I don't normally do that, but I feel like it's time to clean out some of the stuff that's been sitting. For some reason, this new year, it makes me feel like it's time for a fresh start on some things. So that's what I'm attempting to do. And I kind of wanted to go over it with you guys. I know that I always kind of appreciate it when, or enjoy it, rather, not appreciate it, but enjoy it when podcasters that I watch do this. So I thought maybe you guys might like it as well. This is how I'm going to do it. Let's show the single FO that I have. I posted this all over Instagram because I just fell in love with it. I had to really limit how many photos that I used because I just think it's amazing. But I finished my Free Your Fade shawl. This, if you recall, is knit out of the rainbow, no, the neon fade kit, 12-day Advent countdown that I had gotten from Spotted Circus on Etsy, and I will link her shop below. It was something that I went on Etsy the last half of November, and I was like, let me just see if I can find one that's still available, because Advent calendars start selling out in like August. So I went ahead and just did, 12-day Advent countdown, and this came up. It looked interesting. I had no prior experience with the dyer, but I am so glad that I bought this because it has been such a blessing this in December. They were so fun to open. The colors were amazing. They faded in so well together. The pattern was a perfect pick. It's the Free Your Fade pattern by Andrea Mowry, and I just it was the best way to best thing to knit in December. I just really, really enjoyed it. So let me stop blathering on about it and let me go ahead and show it to you. I want to make sure I have the right side facing. And here it is. Isn't it gorgeous? So it was 12 days, as I said. So there are 12 different minis in here. They were all 20 grams, I believe. Anyway, and they just faded in just perfectly. I mean, you can't there's like literally not a single color that didn't fade in exactly perfectly. It just looks like it was all dyed together. I am so pleased with it. Um, I did, you might, if you're familiar with the pattern, I did omit the Pico bind off. I'm not a big fan of Pico bind offs. I'm not a big fan of Pico in general. Like I don't really think it adds much personally. So I knew that I was going to be wearing this, um, and I didn't want to do it. So I just did a Jenny's Surprisingly Stretchy bind off so that I could block it nice and aggressively, and yeah, I can't get over how beautiful it turned out. I think it is just about the most beautiful thing. I can't wait to be able to wear it out and about. We are going back into the office in January, just for January, because that's my busy season for work. So I expect that I will be wearing it there. Um, I love it. I just love it. I cannot. Oh my goodness, I just love it. Like, how can you not love it, right? All of the colors are bright and happy, and it's perfect. And this pattern actually was perfect for this type of um, kit, because so the pattern's originally written for like 3 full skeins, and then you are supposed to, like, she writes it so that you know exactly where to fade and whatnot. I obviously didn't have 3 full skeins, so and she says, well, you can go ahead and fade, in any of these garter sections, right, in between the eyelets. I did not, I wasn't able to make that a reality all the time, because as the rows got longer, I couldn't even, down here, I didn't even get through a full garter section before I ran out of yarn and had to fade into the next color. So I just kind of faded wherever, and it worked out. It worked out perfectly. It just looks amazing. Yeah, and I take no credit for it, because it's the pattern and the dyeing. I mean, really, it's just garter stitch, so it's not like I did anything fancy with it. It's just how amazing this dye was, this dye job was. So I'm really happy to say that Elizabeth, who is the dyer for Spotted Circus, announced after I posted the FO of this that she is going to be offering this color set in January. So if you want to get a hold of these 12 minis and make yourself a faded something, then she's going to have them in her shop. So I will, as I said, I will link her down below, and then I will also put her Instagram as well, so you can kind of follow along. Yeah, so such a great way to end the year, because this was such a fun knit. I really, really enjoyed it. Okay, so that is my final FO for 2020. So let's go ahead and talk about what I finished in 2020. There's a decent amount here. Not as much as in past years, but still some stuff that I'm really, really proud of. So I knit 5 hats. I knit 2 baby sweaters. I need to knit 2 more baby sweaters. I'm a little bit behind, but I'm using COVID as an excuse. I knit 6 heels and toes from the sock tubes that I had purchased from Michelle, who is Aptly Juice on Ravelry. I knit a colorwork bag from the My Life in a Bag pattern, and I love it. And my aunt has it right now. She's putting an lining in it, so it's a bit of a trial for her, so I'm giving her plenty of time to do it, but I know I'll get it back eventually from her, and it's going to be great. Speaking of bags, I knit 8 different dice bags. So this was apparently the year for dice bags. I got really intimate with dragon scales and knit a bunch of dice bags, and they are all used regularly, and I'm glad that they're loved. I knit 4 different shawls. The Very Merry Christmas MCal, which was through Forbidden Fibers Advent calendar from 2018 that I chose to open in January instead of December because I bought it mid-December from my local yarn shop, which is Colorful Yarns in Centennial, and so it was an advent calendar that came with a daily bit of a pattern. So I knit, the pattern was the shawl. I knit the shawl throughout January. I didn't keep up on the daily basis because as I said, January is the busy time in my work, so I worked a lot of overtime. But I did enjoy making it. I also made the tasting menu shawl, which was so much fun. I really, really enjoyed that. That was mostly out of Bigfoot Fibers and Hue Loco, I believe, is what I used for the main color. So much fun with that. I love it. It's gorgeous. I also knit the Untangled Shawl by Andrea Mowry, which, oh, I'm sorry, the tasting menu is by Telly Bean Knits. Sorry. And then the Untangled Shawl by Andrea Mowry, which I knit out of Manos in their Grande, Allegria Grande, which was something that was sent to me for review, and I loved knitting that shawl as well. And then, of course, I knit the Free Your Fade out of Spotted Circus, which was, again, so I don't normally knit a lot of shawls. I'm not a shawl knitter, but 4 shawls is a decent amount for me for a year, and I love all 4 of them. Like, they're great shawls to have. I wear them regularly, during the colder months, and yeah, it was a good year for shawls for me. That's a lot for me. Oh, I learned to crochet. I learned to crochet this year. It's something that I have been wanting to learn to do for years and years and years, but never kind of devoted the time. This year, I sort of learned how to do it in that I can make a very basic single crochet and yarn over blanket, and then I crocheted a little sugar skull. So I don't consider myself a crocheter yet, but I will say that I do look at crochet patterns now and consider I've got them in my queue on Ravelry and stuff like that, stuff that I never would have done before. So crocheting is definitely a skill that I am working towards becoming proficient in, whereas this time last year it was a distant potential goal. Now it's near, and it's not potential. It's like definitely possible. So feel pretty good about that. I knit 1 pair of slippers for my mom and 1 pair of fingerless mitts for a friend, and then I also made a gnome. Those are kind of things that don't fit into any category, and I only made 1 of them, which is a little unusual for me. I normally make more fingerless mitts in a year, but I guess nobody needed them this year. Nobody left the house, so why did we need fingerless mitts? And I made 23 pairs of socks, and only 5 of those were non-Christmas socks. So I really focused on getting my Christmas socks done, and even with that focus, I still am 5 socks short for the to get my 31 pairs. So I will have, I think we've discussed this before. Where is it? Yeah, right there. That is all of my Christmas yarn left over for the remaining socks, and then I will have all my 31 pairs of Christmas socks done, and next year I will be able to wear them every day of December. If you follow me on Instagram, then you saw that I wore them every day from December 1st to December 25th, and then I took a break because I didn't have any socks to fill in, but I did wear a pair last night or yesterday all day in order to celebrate New Year's. So I just need something to fill in those other days. I'm hoping to find some boxes that are holiday themed, or that I can maybe make holiday themed, that will fit a pair of socks in, so that I can have a kind of an advent for myself as a surprise. And I'm going to have, I think, Delaney put the socks in for me, so that I won't know each day which pair of socks that I'm wearing. This year I did know, and I think it would be more fun if it was a surprise for me. So anyway, that's kind of my thought for next year. And lastly, I knit 9 different sweaters, or finished 9 different sweaters, because a couple of them had been started in years prior. First, I finished the Hippo Pullover, which was out of all of my leftover Hippo for the holidays sock yarns that I had left over from her Cowl that I'd done for a couple of years. I held them double and made just a basic raglan pullover, in DK weight, since I held the fingering weight yarn double. I wear that sweater a lot around the house. It's exactly what I wanted it for, to be something that was just kind of cozy and wear around. Love that sweater. I finished the Taiga, which is... I finished it right when lockdown happened. So it's heavy enough to be a jacket. It is, like, the thing is super warm. It's acrylic yarn, so I was afraid that it wasn't going to be as warm since it's not wool. Well, it's partially wool. I think it's like a 70-30 blend or an 80-20 blend acrylic wool. But it is really, really warm. And like windproof. So like when the days when it is super duper cold outside, it's perfect for that. I don't need to wear, I can wear it with a t-shirt and just put that on, and I am like locked down. Your nose cold, no cold is getting in there. So it is really nice to have that, to be able to wear that on those really, really cold days that we have. I knit the Camaro. As the weather started to get warmer, I started knitting some things that I could wear in the office, or that I could wear, because I overheat a lot. So I could wear, not so warm, but just pretty. So I knit a short sleeve cropped Camaro. I finished the Breezy Summer Tee. That was one of the ones that I had started in years prior. I knit the Love Note, which was, I think, one of the most popular patterns from 2018, 2019. Love this sweater. It really does knit up super fast. So I do recommend it. I am thinking about knitting another one, but not using mohair. I know that some people have, instead of using the fingering weight and mohair together, they have just knit DK weight and in one color, and I kind of want to do that, and I want to make like a longer one, because the Love Note is meant to be cropped, but I'm kind of thinking about making a full-size one with the short sleeves still, or maybe 3/4 sleeves, something like that. But I did really enjoy the pattern, and it does knit up very fast. So, and it's very pretty. It's a flattering sweater on most everybody. Then I knit the Rocket Tee. I was just on a whole mohair kick. I used the same color mohair for the Love Note as I did for the Rocket Tee. It was like what I had left over, and that one was super fun. And then I knit the Alaska sweater. This was yarn that I was sent to review, and so it was really nice to be able to knit a sweater out of it. I loved how it turned out. I do wear this one a lot. It is one of the ones that I'm really proud of. I mean, I'm proud of every sweater that I knit, but that one was, I don't know, it's just special. I just love the way it looks. And then I knit the lounging top out of like the oldest yarn that I had in my stash this year, which was kind of nice to be able to use that. And then lastly, I knit the Flax Light for Delaney out of a bunch of minis that I had. It was really neat to be able to use these minis. I used a lot of minis this year. And it was nice to be able to see them being used, and instead of just sitting, and being able to make something that Delaney really enjoys. She wears it a lot. I get a lot of compliments on it. So it's just really nice. So that was the last sweater that I finished this year. I had hoped to finish another one, but it just didn't happen. And 9 is nothing to to complain about. I mean, it's quite a lot of sweaters, so feel pretty good about what I accomplished in 2020. Now, let's get into whips. I don't have a lot of whips because I was spending most of my December working on this, but I do have a couple. I did start another pair of socks, and I wasn't originally going to. I think when I showed you my final pair of Christmas socks in the last podcast, that I had said that I wasn't going to knit any more socks this year, but I was... I had to go to a thing that I could only knit socks during, and I can't go to something and not knit, so I had to cast on a new pair of socks. But I'm counting these as a 2021 pair of socks because I knew I wasn't going to finish them before the end of the year, and I didn't focus on them at all. So this is all that I've got done on them. And they're just a basic, a Christy pair of socks. So super simple. This yarn is something that I had picked up maybe 2018, and I couldn't, it was the most gorgeous skein of yarn I'd ever seen. It still is just about the most gorgeous skein of yarn I've ever seen. It is Northern Pine yarn. I believe the colorway is Take a Hike. And it was one of those things, I finished up Christmas socks. I was like, I don't want to knit any more Christmas socks for a little while, so let me pick out something pretty. And this, I was like, you know what, I've wanted to knit this for so long, and look at how beautiful it is. It is just gorgeous, so pleasant to knit. So these are the socks that that I will be focusing on for socks. And one of the things I'd like to do this year is, this is all of my sock yarn here, and it's kind of languished all year long. So I am hoping to knit some more from it this year. I do still have the 5 more Christmas socks to make, but I'm hoping to kind of get through some of those because they're so pretty. They're so pretty, and at this point, because I didn't knit hardly any from that shelf right there, so that's these ones here are just like solids, semi-solids, and variegateds, and then these ones in this area right here, those are all my stripers. And so I because I haven't knit hardly anything from it all year long, I haven't bought really any single skeins of sock yarn. Very few, I should say, because of course I have bought some. So I'm hoping that that I can get some, knit some, and then get some more, because I can justify buying it if that gets kind of empty. Okay. And then my other whip that I have, I'm gonna kind of go over it because this is where I'm going to talk about the things that I want to finish. So these are all like UFOs at this point, with the exception of maybe one of them. Stuff that I started, I think I started it all this year, but then it languished, and it's just been sitting over here and not being knit, and I stare at it. Like, I see it, I'm like, I should finish that, and then I don't. So this is where I'm saying, here are the things, I think there are 5 or 6 projects here that I'm like, these are the things that I need to finish before I start anything big. Now, socks don't count. Like socks yarn stash, that doesn't count as stash. Socks don't count as projects. But I'm not starting anything big until I get some of these done. So that's what I'm doing. You guys got to hold me accountable for that, okay? So first is, of course, my dark water, which is mostly done. As you can see, it's got sleeves and everything. I've got about, 5 or 6 inches left to do on the body. But once I finish the body, I'm going to try it on again because the sleeves were too tight when I tried it on last time. And so I may need to knit the sleeves over. but I will probably finish the body and then count it as finished, and then maybe finish the reknit the sleeves after I finished all the other ones. So yeah, this is Dark Water by Jennifer Steingass, and it is being knit out of Chasing Rabbit's fiber in her fern base, in just the most beautiful chartreuse color and indigo. Next, I have Camaro 2.0, which is a pattern by Tanis Lavallee. And I knit the first one last year, loved it, had so much fun knitting it, decided I was going to knit another one, and out of the same yarn, using, the yarn is a nerd string, by the way, using some slightly different colors, but getting a full length one with full sleeves. And I got it started, and then I kind of got distracted. So I've gone through each of the colors. Like, this is the final color of the striping sequence. And I know once I get it going again, I will rock through it. It's a fast and enjoyable pattern to knit. So I think that once I finish the Dark Water, I think might be first out of the sweaters, but we'll see. I might do this one because this one is so fun. And I know that this one I'll be able to wear right away when it's finished, whereas Dark Water probably needs new sleeves. So I do really love these colors together. Yeah. Oh, and I am making this one slightly different in that I'm going to stripe the sleeves all the way down. The original Camaro just has striping on the yoke, but I am going to stripe the sleeves. Then I have the Fargo Sweater. Sometime in early summer, I decided I wanted to have a cabled sweater out of this amazing yarn. This is Madeline Tosh Vintage in the Spectrum colorway. I absolutely love it. I bought it years ago when buying a sweater's quantity of yarn was something that I couldn't do very often. I saved up to be able to get this exact colorway, and then I didn't knit with it forever because I didn't want to waste it on a sweater that wasn't perfect, right? It's one of those things where you save it for the perfect pattern, and you have to be the perfect size to fit into the perfect pattern, and yada yada yada. So the yarn was just sitting and languishing for so long, and I decided, you know what, I just want to knit it and enjoy it, right? So I started the Fargo Sweater, which is knit in pieces. I also decided that I wanted to knit it in pieces, and I made a sleeve. Got one sleeve completely done. Lovely. It's perfect. And then that was it. I stopped. So I know that part of it is because it's seed stitch, which is gorgeous knit up, but not as enjoyable. I mean, it's like knitting ribbing for the entire sweater, or this entire sleeve rather, and knitting is never, or ribbing is never as much fun as stockinette, of course. So and I'm alternating skeins so I don't get any pooling, and so yeah, it languished. I do have the second sleeve cast on, but that's as far as I got. So I want to finish this. Definitely want to finish it. Hopefully early on in the year before we lose our snow and our winter, because this is definitely going to be something to wear in the colder times. I have one more sweater, and that is the 8-bit cowl that I was so gung-ho about. It was a geek-along mystery, geek-along, and the sweater was based after vintage video games. So you have Tetris and the invincibility stars from Mario. And then on the second sleeve, you have Space Invaders, and then the mushrooms from Mario. And I stalled out on the sleeve, the second sleeve, obviously, because it's still on the needles. I just need to finish this mushroom and do one more row of mushrooms. And then as the rest of the sweater was unveiled, I got less and less interested in knitting it. So I'm not a gamer, but I loved Super Mario Brothers. And so that's what drew me in is Super Mario Brothers. But the rest of the sweater it's got like Mega Man and the Triforce from Zelda, and it does have the booze from Mario, which I do love. But there's some other I can't I can't think of them now, but there are some other game aspects that I don't know. It just didn't do it for me. And the overall shape of the finished sweater doesn't really do it for me either. So, and it takes more effort for me to knit color work than it does for me to knit straight. I am lazy. So, I kept trying to, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I think I have decided that I'm going to take the basic shape of the sweater that she did, and instead of knitting color work, I am going to knit it straight with just stripes. I'm going to take all of these. I have all of these minis that I've used for the sleeves and whatnot, and then I have several of these. This is the main color. This is Wonderland Fibers, by the way, in their Mad Hatter Sport Base. And I'm going to knit the body as a cardigan with stripes, striping the gray and all of these minis. And that's what I'm going to do. I haven't decided whether or not I'm going to knit it in the round and steek it, or just, because it's a pullover in the original pattern, I might just figure out how to figure out the numbers to make it into a proper cardigan, and just do it that way, straight up. I think that that's how I will get it finished, because with the full colorwork sweater, I won't get it finished. And I think that the colorwork sleeves will go well with the striped body. Yeah, so that's that plan. That is going to be a little bit more involved, so it's sitting for a little bit. I have one non-sweater whip, and that is the Northman Mitts that I am knitting out of MJ Yarns. This is a most recent whip. I think I cast these on in November, and then they just sat for December because I was working on this. So yeah, I definitely will be finishing these up this year, and they're not a UFO. They're just a whip. And then last thing that I have I've actually been working on actively right now. It's the one that I want to finish up first. Is my Scrappy garter stitch rainbow blanket. If you recall, I had all of these 5-gram minis that I had for 10 years at least, and I wanted to finally use them. I had originally gotten them in order to make like the beekeeper's quilt or something, using small bits and putting them together into a blanket, and I decided I didn't want to do that, and so I took them all and I magic knotted them. I put them in rainbow order, in 2 groups of rainbow order. I'm holding it double. And I magic knotted them all together, and I made a bunch of these massive cakes. And I think, not exactly sure how many grams I had, like 700 grams or something like that. This is what I've got left. I've got these 2 cakes that I am holding double. And I just need to finish it. It's rainbow, as I said, so it started with black, and then went into red, pink, red, orange, yellow, green, blue. I'm in the blue now. Let me back up so you can see the blanket in its entirety. So this is what I got. It is just meant to be a lap blanket. It's not supposed to be anything to go on a bed or anything like that. And it is perfect for a lap blanket. This right there is where I was the last time you guys saw it. So I've done about that much progress, and I am trying to get it finished. So I've got blue to finish, and then it goes into purple, and then finishes up on brown. That's just kind of how the spectrum worked for me when I was putting them together. So I do love it, and I think it's going to be great when it's finished. I'll never magic knot anything again because a couple of them have come loose. But if I ever do something like this again, it's going to be using a clasped weft join instead. But, you know, it works for what it is. And since it's just like a throw around, using up little bits of scraps, I don't feel so bad if something comes loose and I have to re-knot it, which I've done a couple of times. So that is my final thing that I have to get done this year, the beginning of this year, this quarter, this first quarter. So that's it. And now let's talk about yarn haul. First of all, I got this in the mail recently. This is a brand new indie dyer, and she watches the podcast. Her name is Tammy, and her shop, it's brand spanking new. Like, I got the honor of being the first order for her shop. Her shop is Bony Fingers Yarn, and I will link that down below. She's doing self-striping, and this is stuffed like a turkey. She had some Christmas colorways, and I was tempted to get one of those, but something about this Thanksgiving colorway really spoke to me, and I love the idea of having a pair of socks that I can now wear on Thanksgiving. I would recommend that you check out her shop because, you know, we should support our baby indie dyers for sure. My mom and I went to my local yarn shop the day after Christmas, and she picked up 4 skeins of this there. This is Chasing Rabbits fiber in the Colorful Yarns colorway, which is like the first specific ordered colorway for my yarn shop. And she wants me to make a sweater for her out of it, so I think I'm going to make this one. I don't want the bloops of color to hide a pattern, so I feel like this is going to be a really good option for that, because the only pattern is on the sleeves, and the rest of the sweater is stockinette. So I think that it's going to be a good yarn pattern combo. This is going to be something that I'm going to start as soon as I get this stuff finished, because she is looking forward to having it soon. And then I had some yarn money as part of my Christmas gift, so I was going to buy a sweater's quantity of this. If you guys remember when I hauled this a couple of weeks ago, I love it. This is also Chasing Rabbits fiber, and the colorway is Hearth, and it's just amazing. So I asked if they had any more of this, and they had none. Like this, all of this sold out, which is not surprising. It was disappointing though, because I really wanted to have a sweater's quantity. However, I thought, well, what if I made a Zweig and paired it with something? So I've got this gorgeous green. This is what I picked up at the yarn shop. This is Scotch Pine. It's just a really pretty green. And there isn't actually any green in here, but I think that they complement each other really well. I originally thought to get this blue, but they didn't have enough in Chasing Rabbits. I wanted to get Chasing Rabbits, but they did have enough in this Scotch Pine, and I think it's just a gorgeous green, so I went ahead and got that. So I will make a Zweig out of this. At least that's the plan for right now. I've got them together in their bag. I keep my stuff in bags, and sweater quantities go together so that I don't forget what I planned on putting together. So that's where they're at. I also got a gift card from my uncle for Leading Men Fiber Arts. And I was going to use it to buy some yarn, But when I was looking on their website, I fell in love with this bag. And so I decided to buy a bag instead. And it's one of those bags that I've wanted for a long time, but couldn't justify buying them because they're expensive. It's like a fringe supply bag type idea. You know, they're gorgeous, but it's a lot for a project bag, so you kind of have to either get a gift card or, you know, work it into your budget somehow. So I got this. This is a Kiko bag. I love it. I'm planning on having it for when we go on trips, and I can put like not bring my purse and put all my knit projects bags in here, or you know, it's like it's got like my book and my tablet and my charger and my Kindle and all that kind of stuff that you take when you're going on a trip. And then I just have this. This is all the important stuff in this one bag. Clothes are in the suitcase, but this is the important stuff. So yeah, I love it. I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. I also finished up the Advent from Bigfoot Fibers. I ended up with 10 different 50-gram skeins, and I keep thinking about what I'm going to do with these. I did consider, you know, that I could use them for socks, because I could make a pair of shorty socks out of a 50-gram skein, but they do complement each other. So I'm wondering about, this is basically 5 full skeins. I could make a sweater out of just this, like, you know, stripey or something. I don't know. I'm kind of thinking about it. I also, this was the 25th day skein. This is Release the Kraken, which is an awesome name and an awesome colorway. My brother has been asking for some more sockhead hats. He loves sockhead hats, and I think this is a good color to make into a sockhead hat for him. So that's what that's supposed to be. But I do need some advice. You recall that the Advent Day 1 came with this full skein of Bigfoot Fibers in her Super Sparkle sock. It's got such sparkles. And then there's a 50-gram skein of this mohair. Silky kid lace. So kid mohair and silk. And then it came with some minis in the same base. Like this one. And this one. And this one. And this one. And this one. Nope, this one. So I had these, all these gorgeous complementing colors in this Super Sparkle base. And then I purchased one of her mini sets. The colorway was Festival of Lights, so focusing more on Hanukkah. They're just beautiful. So now I have 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 20-gram minis in this gorgeous sparkle base and 100-gram. If you want to say, because this is the same as the 100-gram, it is possible that you say, okay, I have 9. Oh, goodness, I'm dropping them all over the place. I have 9 minis and 100-gram, or 110, 120-gram. But I have all of this. I want to put it together and make something, but I don't know what. And the mohair can definitely be part of it, or it doesn't have to be. If you have any suggestions, what I can do with all of these, I would love to hear it. Maybe a shawl? I don't know. I can't figure out a pattern yet, but I want to put them together. So let me know if you can hear, if you know of anything. And yeah, that's it. All right, you guys, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, rest of your weekend, rest of 2021. Enjoy life, love each other, God bless you, and happy knitting. Bye.